Welcome to Global Business Report on Arise News. Dispelling the memories of drought, famine and war, now Ethiopia's hungry for investors. Ethiopia, I'm talking about Africa, is one of the fastest growing non-oil nations in Africa. Over the last 2 years, the country's economy grew almost 10% and was the 12th fastest growing economy in the world. Agriculture, which accounts for almost half of the country's GDP, grew 7%. No longer a byword for poverty, Ethiopia is now competing as an attractive investment in sectors like telecoms, construction and financial services. Joining me in the studio is His Excellency Mr. Berhanu Kebede, the Ambassador of Ethiopia to Britain. You want to attract investment, but at the same time, isn't there an enormous gap between rich and poor in Ethiopia, as there is in many African countries? Is that a barrier, do you think, to people looking at Ethiopia as a good investment?
Poverty is an issue that we have to tackle, and we have been doing a lot of work in terms of reducing poverty in Ethiopia. If you look at our development strategy, it's a proper strategy. It takes into account 80% of the population who live in the countryside, because our development is agriculture-led industrialization. So the main development taking place in Ethiopia is in the rural areas, in the where the vast majority of our population live. So we have been doing a lot of work. We have succeeded, and this is well recognized by those institutions like the IMF, World Bank, the African Development Bank.
As well as the enormous dam project, which we've often talked about on this programme, when we raised earlier in the programme, what are the sort of other investment opportunities that you're trying to sell to people?
Well, in Ethiopia, first of all, is agriculture. We have set aside about 3 million hectares of land for commercial farms. The rules of engagement are very clear. It is a win-win formula. Those companies who want to invest in Ethiopia are welcome, and they will receive a welcoming situation in Ethiopia.
And tourism as well, obviously. I mean, that would be that's always a good business, isn't it?
And of course,
to get
with agriculture, there is also manufacturing, agro-processing, especially textile, laser, for which Ethiopia is endowed immensely.
Okay, and let's talk about tourism, if we may. Are people at all put off by worries about security in Ethiopia? Do tourists worried about that?
First of all, Ethiopia is the most secure country. We know that we are operating in a very difficult environment, but the country as a whole is very peaceful. We have a vision on how to promote our tourism sector. In fact, this leadership is assumed by the Prime Minister himself. He's leading and chairing the National Tourism Board. We have restructured the tourism sector, which takes into account all stakeholders to play a pivotal role in promoting the tourism sector. Our plan is to be one of the 10 tourist destinations in Africa.
Let's talk about regional integration as well, because that's something which is very important as well. Everybody knows, don't they, that it's often rather difficult to do trade between separate African countries.
Absolutely.
What are you doing to try to help that with your neighbours?
First of all, we need peace and stability. We have been working in Ethiopia to promote peace in our sub-region. Ethiopia is playing a leading role in bringing peace and stability in our sub-region. Secondly is to work on infrastructure. We have developed a road network with our neighbors. For example, with Sudan, we have developed a road network. With Southern Sudan, we have developed two road networks. With Djibouti, we have developed railway and road network. And of course, there is a possibility of developing Somalia, hoping that Somalia coming back as there is, out of the...
Do you have in your mind, have a target date or a target amount of years for all this to come to fruition?
We have a target within the AU framework. In 2014 or 2015 to establish a free trade area within the building blocks of the African Economic Community, and by 2017 is to have a free trade area within Africa itself.
Your Excellency, thanks so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're up to date. I'm Michael Wilson in London, and you've been watching the Global Business Report from Arise News.